All right, guys, we are live. We are in Tallahassee tonight. We want to thank my good buddy down here at the end. This is Harry Smith from Harry Smith Outdoors. He is hosting the Big Bend Fishing Report tonight. Harry, we really appreciate you having us tonight and coming to hang out.
Hey, I appreciate you being back, man. This
Absolutely.
Is like a whole reunion.
Yeah, we do this
Evan
at least
time.
we do this about once a year, something like that. We need to probably do it more often. But
yeah, totally.
As always, I am Captain Jay Carson. This is Captain Kenny Mullins. And down here on the end, we do have Harry Smith, who is the host for tonight. We're going to talk some fishing. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. We got Harry. We're going to talk just some fishing in general. We're going to talk some kayak fishing. We're going to talk maybe just some kayaking things to do around the area.
Hey, I'm game for whatever.
And then we're also got Chris Harwood, who is works with Ferguson Keller, but he's going to be talking about some dial products. You can see we got some great reels over here on the table, and we're going to talk through some of the stuff that iCast was just here recently, and unfortunately none of us made it down there.
First one I missed in a long time.
But Chris was down there, so we can ask him about some iCast stuff, and then we're going to talk some gear as well here in just a little bit. So that's it. And then as always, we're going to do some questions at the end. We're going to talk. Oh, the other thing that we're going to talk about too is, and we're going to get to this. A lot of people are excited about the North Florida Redfish series, but there's going to be a kayak division coming up that we're going to get to that later. But I know a lot of people are excited about that too. So we're going to talk about that as well. So like I said, a lot of stuff to talk about tonight.
And we have a live audience today, too.
We do have a live audience. Yes, we've got a live audience. So.
Let's hear it.
So hopefully we get some questions. We'll get some questions online. I think hopefully some more people show up here in a little bit. But we got a live audience, so this is really cool. We're gonna have a good time tonight and talk about a bunch of stuff. So, all right. So let's just kind of jump into it this evening. I know it's August. August is probably like one of my least favorite fishing months. There's no doubt about it. It is my least favorite fishing month. It is the dog days. Yeah.
Yeah, July is probably right behind it.
Yeah, July is right behind it, but you can still get, early July. You can still have, but as you get into late July and August, man, we are in the dog days. The water is the hottest that it's going to be all summer, and that's pretty much what we're dealing with is hot water.
Yep.
One of the interesting things about the Big Bend and Appalachia Bay is that because of how shallow it is. When you look at the Gulf of Mexico and you look at the water temperature surface map, like whether through its NOAA or any of the other sites, you'll see the hottest water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico in this area, and that affects the fishing. So that's why we consider August our downtime. But we're still going to get through it. We're going to talk about some things that you can do to beat the heat, some things that you can do to still be successful in August if you're just itching to get out there. And then also some other things that you can do in August, maybe to kind of, change it up a little bit. All right. So tonight, like I said, we got Kenny, we got Harry. We're going to talk some current conditions. I've taken a little bit of a vacation here lately. I've been out a few days here, last couple days. Kenny is the man as far as being on the water here a lot lately. Harry's been on the water some too, so we're going to get his, expertise as well. But let's talk... as far as conditions go, Kenny, how do you want to start on that one?
Hot, very hot. Water temps actually they cooled off a little bit. The last couple of days they've been around 87 to 88.
Okay, that's reasonable. Yeah. When I was out yesterday, I think when I started in the morning, it was in the mid to low 80s, 83, 84, I think, and then by the end of the day, it was up close to 90. And then any day that we get a thunderstorm or any rain showers, that's going to help to keep the water cool as that goes, and that's going to help us as well.
A lot of just hot, no wind. You get that sea breeze later this afternoon, but it's hot.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that sea breeze. I think that's been a little bit helpful as far as the bite's concerned as well.
Absolutely.
We got a couple of guys, Scott Parrish and Scott Pritchard, are showing up. They're down in Costa Rica. They are tuning in tonight as well. So, guys, we appreciate you showing up for Costa Rica. I saw those dolphin you guys are catching. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's talk. Where do you want to start, Kenny? Redfish or trout?
Either one.
All right. Let's start with I guess in my opinion, probably the little bit tougher species in August, and that's sea trout. So it can be very, very, very much hit and miss.
Very hit and miss.
As far as sea trout goes in August, but let's talk about some ways that we can be successful in targeting sea trout in August. And Harry, I'm gonna kick it to you, man. So I know you guys fish. You do a lot of fishing from a kayak.
Yep.
You're kind of limited to where and when you can go. So what are some things that you like to do to try to maybe target some sea trout this time of year?
Absolutely. So this time of year, I definitely, like you said, I definitely have to say that you can't just motor up and haul butt somewhere else.
For sure.
You kind of got to ground it out.
For sure.
So what I typically look for in a sea trout is that deeper water where it's a little cooler.
Some current.
Definitely some current coming around the tips of some bars or something like that. And, love that spotty bottom.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah. So if you can catch all of that, like you just said, the current's huge. There's a good chance you could come across some,
for sure. And one
trout.
of the things that current does is it brings cooler water into an area. So if you've got an area that's shallow around it, and then there's their bar or a cut or something where that current kind of flows in and out, there's going to be a thermocline there, a temperature variance a little bit there.
Absolutely.
And that's going to help to focus those trout too in that. And what are you using to target them, Harry?
Oh, I was waiting for this one. I'm an artificial guy, as I think we all know.
Sure.
So I definitely love my Miradines this time of year, so I can fish that whole column a little bit and figure it out. But man, it's really hard to go with some shrimp under a popping cork, honestly.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to have success, or even a gulp or something of that nature, something smelly with some sound to it.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We can't get shrimp where we're at right now, and
Ouch.
gulp is. I'm not a gulp fan, but gulp's working.
Hey, you got to use what you can use.
Exactly.
Man.
I'm going to use what catches
that's
fish.
right. Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. If you got to use something that you don't normally use to catch fish, that's what you got to do. Everything is on the table this time of year.
That's right.
So yeah. So all right. So
what are you boater guys doing? Like I'm talking kayaks here. What are you guys doing to catch trout and like?
So right now I'm catching, utilizing some of the same tactics you are.
Okay.
If we hit a day where it's a little rougher, I'm going to get in and fish the current movements and the tidal drop offs and flows. Mainly pinfish and. Right now, live pinfish under popping cork and gulp under popping cork for trout. Topwater bite's been on fire.
Speaking of topwater, I mean, if you're going to throw artificial at any time during the summertime, is there a more productive method than topwater during the right time of the day? In my opinion,
not that I can think of.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, and when that water heats up. When you're trying to attract fish, there's not as many fish in some of those shallower areas maybe as when you're kayak fishing. And if you got to call a fish in or you can let a fish know, where you're at, that top water is going to bring anything within that, that localized area.
That's right.
To that
I'll throw
spot.
topwater all day long.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's not just morning and evening. Yeah, you can throw it all day long for sure.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
One thing about trout right now, fish the tides. You want a lot of water movement. I'm catching most of my trout in that middle third of the tide swing.
Okay.
If you're going to fish and that's what I was saying, I'm using some of the same tactics. If I'm fishing, bottom of the tide to about that where that first third ends or the last third, vice versa.
Right.
I'm gonna find an area where there's a point and some current flowing through there.
Sure.
Definitely fish the tides. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of the day.
And
I'm catching trout at 2 o'clock in the afternoon as long as I have water movement.
Yeah, and what were you telling me earlier as far as the wind is concerned? Has that helped or hurt the bite?
That wind stops, the bite stops.
Yeah, there you go. And that that wind, we don't talk about wind a lot. Most people think, okay, it's windy, really windy. I don't want to go out in that heavy wind. But
I want to be out there.
But if you, especially this time of year, if you are specifically targeting trout, redfish, it's not as critical, but in trout, that wind helps to oxygenate the water. And anytime that you got, a high wind, not only does it increase the amount of water that you can cover, but it does seem like those fish respond better.
Absolutely.
And I love fishing trout on a drift too. So
Yeah. And that wind helps that drift, helps you cover that water.
Exactly.
And another thing too is if you don't have wind, you can run the majority of the time you can run and find some ripples,
Right.
somewhere,
Yeah, somewhere.
some
Yeah,
different, current flow. Just if it's slick as glass, just run and look for the ripples, fish the ripples.
Or look for redfish.
Well, that too. We're talking trout, though.
Yeah, I know. So, but that being said, I'm going to transition to redfish. And there's some others. We're not going to we can talk about trout and redfish mainly because that's the majority of what people target in our area. I mean, there's some other species that are around that we've kind of seen in the last few weeks that we can maybe talk a little bit about too. But when you do get those calm mornings, which you tend to do in the dog days of summer, it's probably a better idea to look for redfish during that time than it is to go out and try to hunt down a big old gator trout, which you might find. And so let's talk about redfish. Let's talk about kind of the areas they've been holding, where we've been finding them, and the methods that we've been using to target them. And I think there's going to be some carryover, obviously, from sea trout to redfish.
That's right.
Because obviously, a lot the same tactics work. But as far as redfish are concerned, in close, if we're targeting them on a high tide up on the grass line, what are we looking for? What are we using? Either one of you guys can go.
Take it away, Kenny.
So mainly I've been looking for schools of bait, big schools of bait, whether it's white bait, ballyhoo, mullet, definitely mullet right now. Yesterday we had a phenomenal day for red fishing.
Yeah.
And good topwater bite, good pinfish bite. And we stayed in close. I've been catching them in close when it gets shallow too. When that tide goes out, they haven't been moving a lot. The last couple of weeks I've noticed some of these bigger schools have started splitting up, and we're seeing more 2s and 3s and smaller groups, even singles, just drifting, covering some water.
So the interesting thing about the summertime, and Harry, I know did you have something you wanted to say? Did you have something you want to say, Harry?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was just gonna kind of piggyback off Kenny here. I'm starting to see them like break apart and be more scattered right now, definitely. Yeah. And if you can find clear water, I mean, you can. I've seen them pretty shallow where you're sight casting to them.
Yes.
So like hit the points and don't sleep on that spoon for a search bait.
Oh,
too.
dude, we were just
we were just talking about that.
Yeah. So pretty much what Kenny and I were talking a minute ago is like basically if you had 3 ways to target redfish in August, it's topwater, a spoon, or some type of bait. So shrimp or cut pinfish or something like that.
Yep. Or even live small pinfish.
Yeah, something where you can cover some water, something that you can make a bunch of noise to attract those fish in an area, and then something that you can, that's going to put that scent or bait, that scent in the water to attract them. And then one of the things that we haven't had quite the rain that we did last year at this time. I don't know if you remember, our water was really dark last year.
Yep.
This year is not necessarily the case, so you can get away with those more visual baits right now, as opposed to something with a lot of scent and a lot of noise too. Yep. So,
no, I've actually been in coves with clear water and just pitching little jigs to them.
Yep. So and then obviously too, the nice thing about redfish is they're kind of a little bit of everywhere right now. There's some that are in shallow. There's also a lot of people are running into them when you're out there on your trout drift.
I've caught them 6, 7, even 8 feet.
Yeah, so you're going to run into them in areas where you're looking for trout and things like that. Steve Bond, what up, big dogs? Hey, Steve, you doing all right tonight? We'll get to some of the questions in too. George Quinn says a rip and slash is still working in the larger profile. So George has been having some success on that larger. Yeah, he's here tonight. George is here.
You can raise your hand too if you like.
Yeah. So
when we get the question.
So that larger rip. George, what color rip and slash? The gold. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So George has been throwing the gold and having some success on that. Nate Laskowitz, and we'll get to some more questions at the end, but these are the ones that are coming in right now. What depth for the trout? They've kind of been a little bit everywhere, right?
Yeah. Depending on where I'm fishing, 4 to 6 feet has been pretty good. 4 to 6 feet has been great. Now we do have some areas in 8, 9, 10 feet that they're stacked in too.
Yeah. Are you finding an area that maybe is holding? In other words, are there schoolie sized trout in that kind of deeper water? Is that kind of what you're seeing?
I'm seeing
Both?
schoolie size of 4 to 6
Yeah,
also. It just depends on where. It seems to be more water clarity dictated.
Gotcha.
And bait.
Yep. Steve Bond has a comment. He says the pink she-dog has been good for him.
You know, I threw she-dogs for a long time just for that different, deeper rattle, and trout was always on top of it. Is he speaking redfish?
I don't. He didn't say, but he didn't. He wasn't specific. But you know, that's a good point that you bring up. It does seem like the trout really prefer those mirror lures a little bit more.
The deeper ones.
Yeah. Than maybe a Rapala skitterwalk or something like that.
That and a one knocker.
Yeah. That one knocker. The bone one knocker is the trout catching machine. Yeah. All right. So that takes care of trout and redfish. I know there's some reports.
Hey, shark fishing is great in August. I'm going to tell you. If there's a time to shark fish, now is the time.
There's a lot of sharks around, that's for sure. There's definitely a lot of sharks.
Yeah, there always is. But, you know, if you want to have some fun when there's no wind, you know, the bite's slow, target sharks.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's some big ones.
Yep.
We saw a giant hammerhead the other Saturday.
Yep.
So there's some big ones around. There's also a few triple tail around. We've been seeing some of those. So if
caught several this week.
Yeah. So if you looking for something a little different to do, and anything floating on the surface, whether it be a crab pot or any piece of floating trash or something, it's always worth checking out to see if there's a triple tail hanging out underneath it. And then, obviously you got all your, summertime species, ladyfish, bluefish, mackerel, all of that stuff is definitely out there.
Don't sleep on those big jacks, man. Those are fun to catch.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. The big jacks are definitely, and the bigger ones are going to be hanging more around the deeper water intercoastal areas. We get a lot of the smaller ones out on the grass flats around, Steenhatchee and Keaton Beach.
Big bait schools.
Yeah. So those are definitely a lot of fun, too. So that's kind of I guess that's gonna. You guys got anything else to add? Good. Yeah, I think we covered it pretty good. Let's talk best bets, and this is sponsored by Keaton Beach Bums, which is in Keaton Beach, Florida, on 251 Beach Road, Perry, Florida. Harry, you ever been into Keaton Beach Bums down there in Keaton Beach? The little corner store down there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They got a lot of good stuff in there, man.
Yeah, that's usually my stop in before I go and my stop on my way out.
Yeah, because they got some great food. They've got, anything else that you can think of for a day on the water, from fuel, bait, gas, scalloping supplies. It's still scallop season, so they got some scalloping supplies over here.
And normally their gas is cheaper than in town.
It is. Normally it is. So you can get fuel up down there. They got non-ethanol and regular ethanol fuel. So whatever you need, they got it down there. It is every time I'm down there, I stop in there. So I always need something from there. And so they are going to sponsor our best bets. And Kenny, I'm going to let you go first because I'm going to go in a little different direction with my best bet this month.
So best bet, we pretty much covered it in that first segment.
For sure.
Trout is, anywhere from 4 to 8 feet. Pop and cork with either gulp, new penny gulp has been really good, live pinfish. And best bet for redfish right now is hard to beat a spoon, and top water skitter walks.
Yep, definitely. So my best bet for this month is a little different. So I'm going to go in an area that I have never gone before on this show. So one of our local rivers here, the Wassissa River especially, is really good. Obviously, it's a spring-fed river, so it stays the same temperature year-round. And during the heat of summer, it is a great fishery. It's got tons of bass, tons of bream, tons of brim in there. A lot of different species of bass, from shoal bass to swanee bass, a bunch of different little species of bass in there.
Some really, really nice swannies in there.
For sure, absolutely, yeah,
all day long.
Yeah, and so if you're looking for a day to beat the heat, you can fish a little bit, you can hop in and swim a little bit, and so I'm going to kick this to Harry here. So my best bet for August is to get out on the Wassissa River and go catch some bass and some brim, and go experience the springs up there. And that's one of Harry's specialties. So I'm gonna kick it over to Harry. Harry runs. How many times a week right now are you on the Wassissa River? Would you say?
Oh shoot, I'm probably averaging like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And sometimes 5.
So what is it about the Wassissa that you like so much?
Yes. So the Wassissa is a very unique ecosystem. It's obviously spring fed, pretty much fed by about 12 springs, crystal clear water, and just the diversity of the ecosystem. It's so real Florida, and it's so protected. It's all surrounded by wildlife management area. You won't see much dwellings except for on the upper portion, but it's just a great way to, get away from it all, get on river time, take a dip in the springs, rejuvenate yourself, take years
off your life.
No,
add to your life. Yeah, there you go.
And just experience some real Florida stuff.
Yeah,
and even when the pressure of the fishing and everything gets to you, tournaments and all that stuff, just take a break and hit the Wassissa for, half a day and just reset.
And you offer some stuff. So if somebody's never been in Wassissa and wants to see it, what do you offer in regards to that?
Yeah, we offer the whole guide service. We got the van, trailer, all the boats, everything you need to get out on the water. And I can show you some really cool places that, if you know type of thing.
Right.
And we'll get out there and have a great time. We're on river time. It's all on you. So set it at your pace. Whatever you want to do, we'll go do it.
Yeah. You don't have to deal with a lot of boat traffic like Swanee and.
Let's go on a weekday.
But even then, it's not like the Swanee where you're gonna have a bunch of people pulling tubes around and
no, it's very low key.
Nothing quite like that.
Yeah.
With the grass and the rocks, I mean,
there's still a lot of airboaters and power boaters. But if we can get beyond that, that's where.
Yeah,
it's at.
the head of the river can get pretty busy, but once you get down past that, it's pretty. You can have it. You won't see. Like if you did a trip, which you offer from the head down to Goose Pasture.
Yeah, the whole 10 miles.
10 miles.
And then some if you prefer.
If you did that, once you get past that first mile or so, you might go several hours without seeing another person,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's great if you want to just get away, if you want to beat the heat, go swim in the springs.
And bring the family. It's a great family adventure.
Yeah, no doubt. And then what else? I know, Harry, we're in your shop tonight, so I feel like I need to throw you love. What else? I mean, I know you do the Wassissa trips. What else do you offer?
So I like to say from mild to wild. So we have a little bit of everything, whether it be manatee viewing, the crystal clear spring hop that I call in the upper Wassissa. We have like very technical adventure type stuff like the Slave Canal or Half Mile Rise. We got beautiful black water disappearing rivers in the Osceola with a little Class 3 rapids if you time it right.
I was going to say,
Paul.
North Florida is not necessarily known for its whitewater rapids, but my man Harry can show you some.
I can show you. And of course we have the beautiful marsh area and the best inshore fishing in the state of Florida, in my opinion.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
100% on that. All right. Well, Harry, we appreciate you hosting us, man. We're going to bring you back in here in a minute.
Yes, sir.
We're going to switch it over and bring in our other guest this evening, which is Chris Harwood of Ferguson Keller Associates. Chris is going to come in here and talk some gear with us this evening. You see we got some great reels set up right over here. We're going to run through each of these reels, kind of give you a quick rundown of what they provide, and then also Chris has had some rods over there as well to his right over there. Chris, first off, we appreciate you joining us tonight, man.
I appreciate you having me on again. A little different uniform than what you used to see.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So if you've been following the show for a while, Chris used to host us out at Bass Pro Shops for a long time. We kind of went a different direction, but Chris is kind of getting back involved again, and we really appreciate Chris coming on tonight, and he is – Chris, well, just give us a quick rundown about what you do now.
So my title is Retail and Product Specialist Manager for Ferguson Keller. So basically, one of the parts of my job is kind of monitoring big box retail side of Iowa with Ferguson Keller, kind of looking at sales and trends and stuff like that.
Sure.
The other part, the part that I really enjoy is the product specialist team part of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's our nationwide team all across America. We recruit people to go in and do seminars and stuff in big box retail locations, Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's in the Southeast, and all over the country.
Sure.
And represent the Daiwa brand and some of our other brands possibly in the future for different companies that we represent. Yeah. So it's no other firm does that. Nobody has like a team that's dedicated or somebody dedicated to representing the products that they rep to the big companies, right? So I think it's a big part and what makes our team probably one of the best in the country.
And I've been with Daiwa probably for 5 or 6 years now, and just you coming on here recently with that I think it's been a great asset here locally for us, and then also obviously nationally and regionally as well.
Yeah, especially in the Southeast and Florida in particular. I mean,
for sure.
Bass Pro Shops has 12 locations in Florida, so it's a big chunk of their business.
Yep. All right. So we brought you on here tonight. We're going to talk some gear. You just recently came back from ICAST, and ICAST had a lot of these products here that you're going to talk about. They've got some other stuff too that they just introduced that we can touch on those if you want to. Yeah. But we're going to kind of focus on what you got right there in front of us. So what we're focusing on tonight is the inshore saltwater.
Yeah, inshore saltwater
for
side.
Our area.
Daiwa is very known for the Tatula bait casters for the bass side, where they have some amazing rods. My son fishes bass, so he has a ton of them.
For sure.
They're fantastic. But there are some things that saltwater that's, inshore particular and, driven toward the kayak guys I brought out tonight. One of the things I like is the coastal. This is the Coastal 150 right here.
All right.
That's a bait caster. Not a lot of guys use bait casters, but I do. I like throwing a bait caster myself. I love throwing topwater plugs, mirror lures, spinner baits, things like that, chatter baits on a bait caster myself.
If I'm throwing a big plug, I love a bait caster because you can you have a lot of control over the size of that bait. Yep.
One of the new items that Daiwa brought out for this year is the Coastal 80.
Right, yeah. It's just a smaller version, right?
It's a smaller frame, right? It'd be great for a kayak guy,
right?
Who's doesn't have the leverage to get a big cast out there. A junior angler, somebody with smaller hands, is great for them. It's great for the guys out in Louisiana. I would particularly probably use it, pitching to a redfish out in Louisiana somewhere. We're not having to make bomb casts.
Yep. And so you brought the 150. They also make it in 100, right? Is it?
Well, they make a 200. They make a larger
That's right.
version.
They make a 200. That's right. Okay.
It's got a bigger foam handle on it.
Right.
A bit different handle design.
I have the 200 and I have the 150. I do not have the 80. So I have both of these, the sizes reels of those.
Well, if you were to set that beside a Tatula, a Tatula is going to have a 90 millimeter handle.
Right.
So the saltwater version's got a 110 millimeter handle on it. So it gives a little more leverage on those fish to pulling those, hard pulling redfish. Love the bait caster.
Sure.
They have a great niche for what we do.
For sure.
Right?
Yep, definitely.
Saltwater guys really ought to try them out. I mean, they're fantastic.
Yep. And then right next to that, you got the Ballistic MQ right there.
This is the Ballistic MQ LT. So there was the Ballistic LT that was out last year, correct?
Right.
A little bit different design.
Right.
They changed it up a little bit. This is the MQ. So any of the Daiwa line that you see that has MQ in it means monocoque design. And anybody who doesn't know what monocoque design is, that is from the racing industry, right? It's the way they design the chassis or a one-piece frame. So the monocoque design is a one-piece frame. The Ballistic MQ LT is made from a proprietary polymer, Zion V, which keeps it lightweight.
Right, very lightweight reel, yep.
Mag seal bearings, you know all about the mag seal bearings.
Oh, I love them.
Right, liquid to keep liquid out.
Man, it's great.
It's crazy good. The MQ frame allows Daiwa to put a 20% larger gear in the frame, right?
Yeah.
So finer teeth, smoother reel, better leverage.
Yep. So the Ballistic, the Ballistic is mag sealed. Is that one of the mag sealed? Okay, so the Ballistic is a mag sealed
reel.
And if you've never seen what a mag sealed reel is, it's basically magnetic oil that keeps the oil around the guts, so to speak, of the reel.
Yep, up in the top of the shaft where you get a lot of
where you get all
through.
where the corrosion is likely to happen. It keeps all of that out there and keeps that. I've got another reel that they make, which is Saltese Back Bay, which we don't have one of those, but it's got, and it's from the day I bought it, it still functions as perfectly as it is.
And another thing that you get in this reel is you get a second bearing on the end of the pinion shaft to help cut down on your reel deflection.
Sure.
You know, the deflection in the main shaft. So very sturdy platform. Great, you know, 2500, 3000 series for guys in the kayaks would be great.
Yep.
The BGMQ we have here is a new part of the BG line, right? The BG had been out for a little while, and they came out with the BGMQ. This has an aluminum monocoque design, so it's a cast and then machined out one-piece design. Similar gear size, it's got the DigiGear in it. Great reel, a little bit on the heavier side versus the Zion V construction.
Gotcha.
In the ballistic.
Yep.
You know, $229 price point, $99.
Right.
You know, $189.99 price point.
Yep. And then that far one down there on the end.
And then the far one down here, we got the Fuego LT, great saltwater setup. You know, kind of a good entry level reel for somebody in the saltwater world. Right.
I was impressed with that when I picked it up. And
for somebody low price point or a guy on, a guide having to rig out a big boat, you know, great setup. Great setup.
Yeah, it's got $100 price point, and it's I've heard a lot of good things about that reel. So
I was honestly impressed with it.
So. And then you got a couple of rods. You don't have to run through all of them, but if you want to pick a couple maybe that you want to focus on.
Let's run through a couple of them. You know, we're talking about that entry level.
I definitely want to talk about the Isla.
The Isla rod.
Yeah, the Isla rod. Yeah, for sure.
So the Arid Coastal rod, $49.99 price point. Great to go with that Fuego.
And that comes in spinning and casting, right? The Arid comes in spinning and casting.
And also I know you got some of the Back Bay rods and the Procyon rods,
right?
Which I have right here.
Yeah.
But you and I both love this rod.
Yeah.
So I throw the bait cat. This is the casting. This is the Isla rod.
That's the casting. They make a spinning. In my opinion, this for that medium level price range.
Yeah, for $149.99 price range.
This is the rod. It's light. It's got great action. I love this rod.
It's got a great bend in it. It's got the X45 technology, which means it's got the carbon fiber or the composite materials are laid at a 45-degree angle, so you don't get collapsing when you load the rod. So low resin content in this rod,
super
so it keeps
light.
It light.
Yeah, super light.
It's got the short split grip.
I love the split grip. Yeah.
Yeah, split grip's amazing. And we got that in the casting and a spinning rod.
You talked about the Procyon. You talked about the which one is that? That's the Procyon, right?
No, that's the Isla.
That's the Isla. Yep. That's the spinning.
This is the spinning.
Yep. That's the spinning. Yep. And so I have a couple of these, and I absolutely love them. I'm probably going to switch to all of these that I'm going to run on my boat. So it's a great rod there. Anything else? So I know Daiwa released. Let's talk a little bit about some of the new stuff that they just released. You talked about the 80. The Free Swimmer, is that another one?
Free Swimmer's out.
Yeah, the Free Swimmer.
That's a big release for us.
Yeah.
It's going to be, that 180 price range.
Right, and that's kind of designed towards your live bait fishermen.
That's designed for your live bait guy, live bait tarpon guy, or somebody like that, or free lining something off the back.
It's got a switch that engages the reel, where if you leave the switch open, it's kind of in free spool, but it's like clicker mode almost. You would think about it like that way. And then when you engage it, the
big push and announcement at ICAST was the new Tatula XT bass rod.
Right. Yeah.
$99.99 price point. You get a lot of the technology like we talked about, like in the Isla, the X45, low resin. It's fantastic rod for $100.
For sure.
My son's been putting them through the test for about 3 months now, and you see the fish that boy catches. So he's putting them through the ringer.
No doubt. All right, man. Well, I guess that's about it. Anything else you want to touch on real quick?
No, man.
No, okay. I
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get you to stick around. I'm going to bring Harry back in here for just a minute. Kenny, I hate to kick you off, but we're going to talk some redfish tournaments here. So, Harry, come on back, man. Come back and sit in with us. Yeah. I love the shirt, too, by the way. That's a great shirt, yeah.
Drink Tallahassee beer, guys.
And I see your questions in there. We kind of touched on them. If you have any more questions as we're talking, please get those questions in. I'm gonna bring Kenny back here in a minute, and we're gonna get to some of these questions that you guys are sending in. I appreciate all the comments that are coming in. We'll touch on those too. Steve says that Harry has the best remote yak spots on speed dial. I guess that's what he meant to say. I'm not sure what he meant by that, but you know Steve? You know Steve?
How you doing, Steve?
Yeah. And then Jason, we can talk some scallops here in a little bit.
I was wondering if scallops was going to be brought up.
Yeah, we're going to talk some scallops here in a little bit, so we're going to talk about that. But before we get to that, I know you guys are both excited. Chris, you've been on here before. We've talked about the Florida Redfish series, which is basically where you're covering Crystal River, Jacksonville,
St. Augustine in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. So we kind of diversified. That's why we had to kind of drop the north
sure,
out, right? We ended up going to some other places.
Yep.
We had a lot of anglers reach out to us.
Yeah.
We're kind of missing some stuff with tournament fishing, low entry fees,
right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
but one of the things that you're adding this fall, I guess you're going to give it a good trial run, tell us about how it came about. First of all,
the trial run. Well, we've had people reach out to us since we started it.
Sure.
Hey, y'all got a kayak division. I don't know how many times we got messages, or Kelly get a call, or I get a call, or a Facebook message, or an email like, "Hey, y'all got a kayak division? Hey, y'all got a kayak division?" No, not yet. We were trying to get the boater side down pat, where we felt like it was running very smoothly. And then we would kind of look into that. We didn't want to bite off more than we could chew with the team we had. My business partner, Jimmy Milton, Jimmy, he's my partner with it. And we kind of sat down and talked about it and was like, you know what, let's try to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And we know kayak guys are purists at heart, right? Like no kill is a big deal.
100%.
100%. And it is with us too. We're a non-kill tournament.
Sure.
We have culling permits. We release 100% of the fish.
Kayak doesn't have a live well, though.
Kayak doesn't have a live well. You can't really do that with a kayak, right? So the company we partner with that handles all of our software, that Jimmy is a whiz on, and I appreciate everything he does with that, developed an app.
Okay.
And it's going to allow us to do CPR formatted tournaments now.
Okay.
So it's a great system. We've got a test tournament coming up August 20th. I wanted a small group.
I saw that. Yeah. I've got some people entered into that.
Yep. So we're going to do just a small little test group before the open in October.
Okay.
Right. We want to do like 30 kayakers. I think we got about 15 right now.
Yeah. So let's before we get into the open, let's promote that little test tournament a little bit. See if we can get you some more entries.
Love to do
when,
that.
Where, how much?
It's going to be August 20th.
Okay.
It's going to be $25 to enter, and we just put a entry fee on it just so you can go through and know how to register. We'd have some kind of payout for you guys to go do. We're going to pay the top 3.
Okay.
Right. And the plans are to have it set up that the boundaries would be probably West Bay and Panama City.
Okay.
To probably Horseshoe Beach.
That's a big region.
Yeah.
So is it going to be?
We want to. Get as many people.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And so, are you going to have to be present for the weigh-in, or is that something you can do digital?
We're going to do that one all digital.
All digital. Okay.
We're going to send the winners their money either through Venmo, PayPal, mail them a check. However they want to. To help us test this system out.
Yeah.
Because it's untested.
Yep.
We want to make sure that the slot tournament is going to format. It's going to work like we want it to.
Okay.
We want to do something different.
Yeah, just work out all the kinks
and
get it ready for the big debut in October.
Yep.
So it's clicking along smoothly.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we got guys committed to come from North Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Well,
to come fish this thing.
One of the things that's been lacking ever since IFA quit, kind of backed out. They had a kayak division, and one of the things that's been lacking, in general, especially for our area, is a redfish kayak tournament series.
Yeah,
series.
People have tournaments.
But as far as a series where you can accumulate points and all of that kind of stuff.
So if everything goes as planned and the open runs like we hope it should after this test tournament, then in 2023 we'll roll out a full series that will run side by side with our boaters.
Right.
Like we're not going to do like the IFA did and split it up. Like
So you're talking same day of.
We're going to do same day of.
Okay.
We're going to do launch boundaries. The app allows us to do that.
Yeah.
You have to fish in a certain area.
Don't let those kayak anglers outfish them motors, though. Look at you, Matt.
So that's phenomenal. I think that's something that's been missing, for a few years, and I think that's going to be a great opportunity. Because me personally, I have a lot of friends that specifically kayak fish.
Sure.
Harry being one of them, and Joe. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he when he found out, I mean, he's been pushing me for years to come up with something.
Yeah. So, I think that's great. So the big tournament that you got, we talked about the trial run. What's the big tournament you got coming up in October?
So the big tournament is the TH Marine Redfish Open, and that's going to be out of Seahag Marina in Steenhatchee. It's going to be on October 22nd. Harry Smith is Outdoors is going to be the title sponsor for the kayak division.
Myself and Vibe Kayaks,
right.
Shearwater 125, their latest and greatest pedal drive system. So look out for that. Yep. Color to be determined.
So that's what's up for grabs then. That Shearwater.
That's
Shearwater's up for grabs
for the kayak
division. Yeah, for the kayak division.
On a 30-boat field, we're going to pay $1,000. So they're going to
take
on the kayak and $1,000.
Yeah, so you're looking at probably like $3,500 or something like that. Well, how much is a Shearwater run retail?
It's about
you're looking at about just under $3,000.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So we're somewhere around $3,000. So that's an awesome payout for that. And so
hopefully, we can partner with Vibe and Harry Smith in 2023, and they can be a part of the series as title sponsors.
Yeah, there's going to be some big stuff moving forward, so I don't see why that wouldn't be an issue. Looking forward to it. I'm glad that we linked up and I'm able to get in at the very beginning and hopefully keep moving forward with you guys.
Yep, we love it. We love having you guys. We appreciate it.
So that kayak
Don't forget
tournament
about the boaters now.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there too. We're getting there. You know how I feel about some of those boaters.
I know you do. I know you guys.
So I don't. Yeah. So anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But here it is. It's 5,000. It's so the open part here. You can see the flyer up there. You can see the HSO division. It's an entry fee of $100
for the kayak,
for the kayaks. Yeah, which is not too much. And then you've got that $1,000 and that Vibe Shearwater 125. And then the boater side, we can touch on that. So for the open,
$300 entry for the boater side. 2-man teams. We're going to pay $5,000 on a boat of 50, on a field of 50. Seahag normally does a great job of that. I mean, 40 to 50 has kind of been the average down there for us. We had close to 40 with terrible weather back at the first of the year. So make sure you guys, if you're going to fish it, call the guys at Seahag, Steenhatchee RV Park. Call those guys. Get your place reserved. Don't wait till the last minute. When we announced the season, we had people calling Seahag to reserve their place next year for the kickoff for next year.
Wow.
So I mean, people are doing good, and we're working on sponsorship. We're working on some great things for the series next year.
Okay.
We're gonna do 6 regular season, and then a championship later in the year next year. It's going to be great. But the open, man, you don't have to be a member. Come fish, pay your entry fee, have a good time. Seahag puts on a great show. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. And just, be respectful when you're out there on the flats.
Hey, now, because I've gotten video from you before.
Yeah.
Know
I ain't afraid to turn somebody in. Yeah. But and that's one of the things that I do appreciate about the tournament series that you run.
Yeah.
As you do it right. You try to make sure that the ecosystem that of the area that you're fishing in is minimal impact. And that's as a guide who's out there, a ton. That's very much appreciated.
And for you guys that are watching and don't know what he's talking about, we monitor and police burning. That's you're out.
Yeah.
Like we don't put up with that, and that kills the ecosystem, kills the grass.
Messes the fish all up.
The fish.
Yeah,
for sure. We don't condone that in any way.
For sure, no doubt. All right. Well, anything?
That's
else?
why kayak is the way to go.
Well, anything else you guys want to touch on?
No.
All right. So, I'm going to bring Kenny back on here in just a second, and we're going to get to some questions. Christopher Klauser, I guess this would be a question for you before you leave, Chris. He says, "Are tandem kayaks allowed?"
No, it's one. As long as it's one person.
One person. Okay.
But it's one person.
Yeah, it's got to be one
power
person.
Driven.
Okay.
It's got to be pedal or paddle.
Okay.
Driven. There'll be no
So
trolling
none of the
motors
torpedoes
allowed.
or you can't use a torpedo or any trolling motor or anything like that.
And gals in the kayak world, and that was a common theme that came up. Man, don't allow power, don't allow trolling motor, don't allow torpedoes.
Right.
It's not a kayak anymore.
It's not a kayak anymore. I mean, technically, once you put power on it, you got to register it as a vessel.
Right.
So no, it's going to be purist at heart.
Cool.
CPR format. 2 of your best fish in the slot.
Yeah.
Total inches.
And you're going to require the catch board, correct?
Yeah, catch board.
So catch board.
Everybody's going to fish on the same board.
Yep.
Right.
And that's something you can supply there, Harry. You sell those at the
I'm working on that.
Okay,
I'm working on that for
cool.
this particular reason.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So 2 fish then. So just like the boat tournament,
like
it's
the
a
boat
two
tournament,
fish,
it'll be
and
inches,
it's aggregate of inches.
Aggregate of 2, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We've already got all the rules laid out there, man. You go to
and then so if somebody turns in 2 27-inch on the nose fish, is it time as when those fish?
It'll be timestamped. Yeah.
Timestamped.
Whoever completed their 2 first would be determined the winner.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. That's exciting. I am happy to hear that's going to be something that's going to be coming back. I know there's a lot of guys that are excited about that. So we really appreciate you, Chris, for putting that on, and Harry, we appreciate you sponsoring that as well.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Great to have you guys back.
All right, Chris, I'm going to kick you out.
All right.
I'm going to let Kenny come back in here. We're going to get some more questions. And, Chris, if I have any more questions about the tournament series, I will pull you in, and we'll tackle those as well. Yeah, you sit. Okay. You stay. We'll throw just Kenny in on the end down there.
Beer me.
So we're going to get to some questions now, guys. We got Kenny coming back in here. We're going to talk fishing. We can talk any of the tournament series. Still got Chris right here in house. So if we have any questions about the tournament series, feel free to ask those. If any of you guys in house have any questions about anything, whether it's fishing related, kayak related, anything like that, please feel free to jump in here. I'm going to start rolling through some of the questions that we've already had, some of the stuff that I may have missed from the beginning, and we are going to kind of roll through some of these questions that we got here, which there's not a lot of questions, guys. We need to get some questions in here. I'm going to pick up kind of where I left off from here.
Yeah, guys, we all say hi.
All right, so this is a question from John. Well, first of all, Steve Bond. This goes back from earlier. He said he's been using a pink she-dog, and he said we asked
both
him,
lately.
Yeah, he said that it's been working for both, so not just trout, but also redfish as well.
Okay, great.
So
I appreciate the feedback, Steve.
Yeah, and Steve would know. Steve,
damn right.
Steve, we need to just have Steve come on one day. I think, and
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
decision.
and tell us how to catch big fish from a kayak, because he's got that kind of dialed in. Question from John Thomas Shupard. He says, "Can you give pros and cons of a bait caster versus a spinning setup?" So I'll start, and then you guys can chime in on that. So the reason I like to throw a bait caster is I typically use it for some of my bigger baits. So like if I'm throwing big topwater plugs or big suspending twitch baits, anything like that, I like to throw those heavier baits with a bait caster. I can control how far it goes. I can control the action a little bit better, and it's a little bit more comfortable for me as far as the retrieve goes.
And lighter.
Lighter too.
More balance.
For sure. And then as far as a spinning rod is a universal setup. You can use a spinning rod for anything. The only thing I would say the bait caster is also good for is close quarters combat, I guess is a good way to put it. If you got to make a quick pitch at a fish that's 10 feet away, 15 feet away, if you're sight fishing, a bait caster is really good for that. And that's in the saltwater world. You guys got anything to add to that? I mean, anything else that you can think of as far as a bait?
Spot on.
Bait caster.
Yeah, and I was going to mention the balance and the weight too.
Sure.
But,
and if you're throwing a search bait that has enough weight to cast a lot, I mean, you're not going to wear yourself out as much as you would on the spinning rod.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's more you got a flip motion, and a lot of the bait casters that they've got out now right now. If Harry, if you hand me that real quick, they've got dials on the sides. It's got a magnetic dial in here that controls the rate at which, once the spool starts to slow down. People always the thing that scares most people away is backlash, right?
Which would be one con, because they ask
right.
pros and cons.
Yeah, which would be the con. Yeah, but if you
nowadays technology,
with today's technology and the bait casters, between the this little dial here that controls the resistance on the actual spool itself, and then this magnetic what kicks in once the revolutions or the centripetal force of the spool slows down, it'll kick in. If you got the dial set, it's very hard to backlash. So you can even throw light baits with these. So if you're pitching a light jig or something like that, you have control over that. And this Coastal has both of those features. There's tons of bait casters out there that have those features.
Probably the only other con I could think of is if you're wanting to cast long distance with lighter baits.
Right. Yeah. So if you're throwing a light bait and you're trying to get out there, especially in the wintertime, we like to throw a lot of light baits and get a little extra distance on those. That would be a con in that area as well. All right. So I hope that answers your question, John. I hope you are stick around to hear that. Jason Johnson Sr. says, how are the triple tail? We kind of touched on that earlier. It's good.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep.
There's definitely some triple tail around. Jay Fishburne, I heard holding your mouth at a 45-degree angle with a Gucci Mane smile really gets the fish thumping and trout live. Jay, if you have some success with that, let us know, man. TJ Saunders says, what's up, fellas? What's up, TJ? Thanks for tuning in, man. We appreciate it. Steve Bond says, Michael Aman, take me fishing. Michael, if you Michael's a good dude if you can ever get a chance to hop on his boat.
Been there a couple times.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
Catch him at JR's.
Yeah. If you got Michael Aman and Steve Bond together, that would be a tough sell right there.
Yeah. Too.
Steve Bond, love eating some bream. It's a good tasting fish. And like we talked about earlier, Wassissa is loaded with bream.
Oh, absolutely.
Osceola, all of our local rivers. Kurt Zorn, do you know Kurt? He says, we love you.
I love you too, Kurt.
Steve Bond says Harry has the backwaters on lockdown. That he does, my man. He has those backwaters on lockdown from the Osceola to the. What is your range? So
typically like Lanark area.
Okay.
To I would say comfortably Osceola.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mandalay. Yeah. So you do the Apalachicola River? You ever done? I know you guys do the river keeper stuff, but is that?
I don't do a lot of fishing over there.
Okay.
To be honest
but do you
with
do any kayaking, paddling on Osceola River, or is that a little bit out of your range?
I definitely can. I can hook you up into the people that
cool.
know it better than I can.
Yeah, because
that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Steve Bond, Tatula.
Beautiful area, though.
It is.
You should totally explore. Owl Creek, all the Graham Creek, all those backwaters of the Apalachicola. Money.
The cool thing about the Apalachicola River is it kind of disappears out into the woods in some parts.
100%,
so you can get into those flooded timber areas, and you can actually get lost back there if you're not careful.
Definitely watch the water levels.
Yeah, you can definitely get lost back there if you're not careful.
It goes out quick.
It does.
Oh,
Steve Bond says the Tatula SWS is his favorite. Yeah, that Tatula is a good rod, man. That style is kind of, I guess, their staple. Their reel that they build everything else around. TJ, we are not going to talk about tarpon on this.
What's up, TJ?
TJ, we're gonna skip over that. Float tip or intermediate line. Lately intermediate, TJ. Lately intermediate. Steve Bond okay. Jason Johnson Sr., tell us info on Cuban raft found if you can. Kenny, you hear about that Cuban raft that they found? What's the word on that? Do you have any idea?
No, I seen the pictures and everything. Had the tin roof sides and it had some products in there like rice packaging from Havana.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder where they jumped out at, or if they made it at all. That's crazy. He said I saw
they
when
brought it into the boat ramp.
They pulled it up to the boat ramp, but the people were nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
TJ says will there be a fly division for the series? I don't know if Chris quite has that part worked out yet, so we might have to come up with that on our own there, TJ.
He's got about a 6-second delay here. There you go.
No, hey, he says that TJ. He says the only rule is no live bait. So technically, I guess if we wanted to put ourselves in that position, we'd have some bragging rights if we could go in there and beat all those guys with fly rods and flies. We answered that, Christopher Klauser. We answered that question as far as tandem kayaks.
Yeah, bring that Crescent crew out solo, man. Tear them up.
Yeah. Billy Roberts, any recommendations for targeting trout reds during the summer with a fly rod? I guess I'll take that one. So
not my question.
My recommendation would be if you are not sight fishing, in other words, seeing the fish in the water, your best bet for targeting any type of species in the summer on fly is to look for bait schools. If you can find fish that are actively feeding and get a fly into those areas where those fish are actively feeding, that's going to give you the best success rate.
I actually took a guy. I took a guy not too long ago that blind casted all day long for trout out in deeper water.
Oh my gosh!
All day long.
Oh man!
But
successfully?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he did. I mean, man, it was nonstop for 8 hours.
Yeah, that's impressive.
You know, and
you can do that. You can do that. But
Yeah.
if you want to not cast for 8 hours and have a better chance of being successful, either sight fish for them in shallow water, find them. I know that there's some of our creeks in the Appalachie Bay are clear water creeks. If you can get up in those clear water creeks, especially near areas that have some spring water flow to them that keep those creeks a little cooler in the summertime.
Absolutely.
And you can go up in those clear water creeks, and we are. There's a bunch of them. I'm not going to name them specifically, but you can find them if you know what you're looking for. If you can find those clear water creeks that have a little bit of that spring water flowing through them, you can go in there and you can sight fish redfish. And that's going to be a great way to target them on fly in the summertime. You can find them. Here soon, they'll start showing up pretty consistently on our grass flats and shallow water, and then also basically those bait schools if you can find those bait schools.
And as far as redfish, I mean, it's doable right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's
For
what
sure.
I was alluding to earlier. It's like
Yeah.
if you can find that clear water, you can
no doubt, no doubt,
to them all
no
day
doubt,
long.
no doubt. So that would be my recommendation for targeting both trout and reds. The trout are going to be when you do find those schools, or those bait schools where those fish are actively feeding, you're going to need a heavier fly to get down below the bluefish and the ladyfish because those are the fish that you're going to see feeding on the surface. But when you get down underneath those feeding fish, that's where the redfish and trout are going to be.
Yeah, that's something I didn't think about talking about earlier. Is if you start catching ladyfish, there's generally some trout there.
Yeah, there's going to be some trout underneath them. Yep, no doubt.
You're in the right area.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And
they're there for a reason.
And Billy, you know where some of those creeks are that we're alluding to.
Yeah, there you go. So Christopher Clouser, thank you. What if both pay separate entry fees? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
So
Chris.
in a tandem. So he's referring to a tandem.
Okay.
If he pays for two separate entry fees, two people in one boat. If they pay two entry fees, that's cool, right? I would imagine.
I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One angler
per kayak.
The man says
one angler
per kayak.
One.
The man says one angler per kayak. So there you go. So you're gonna need.
So the answer is no, Chris.
You're gonna have to. Chris, you're gonna have to borrow a kayak or come get an extra one from my man right here. My man has some beautiful kayaks behind us.
I got a beautiful Hobie right behind me for sale, Chris.
There you go.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. So Steve. I doubt you'll ever get Steve. I doubt you'll ever get Michael Ammon in a kayak. That'll be the last thing I ever see. Justin, my man, he says, "What's up, guys? Love the setup. Appreciate that, Justin. Look forward to seeing you in the fall, my man." Chris says Harry knows the Apalachicola redfish hotspot number 2019. Is there a story behind that?
He's referring to Rock the Dog.
I got you. Yeah. Well, you don't have to divulge any information.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's going to wrap us up. Roger that. Solo on the Tando. Yeah, solo on the Tando, dude. All right. Any other questions, guys? Is there anybody in house that has any questions? George left us. No, there's George right there.
Live.
You guys got any questions? Any questions in house that you want to throw up to us that we want to tackle? We good? Well, we need to do it pretty regularly. Definitely, yeah. It's been good. Yeah.
Oh,
at least maybe like a couple times a year. I think
You've created a monster with this live audience, dude.
Couple times a month.
A month?
Well, I'm sorry, a year.
A couple times a year.
Yeah, a couple times a year. I think would
cool
be
with
a great idea.
I'm always here for it.
So if there are no further questions that you guys want to throw up, we'll get to those real quick before we sign off. But Harry, we appreciate
what
you,
up,
man.
Fletch?
We appreciate
what
you.
What up, Ron? Sorry, I gotta give a shout out to my fans.
Some guys. Yeah, you got some guys showing up.
Yeah,
Harry, man, we appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure,
dude.
man.
Thanks for hosting us, man.
Great meeting you.
It's been good. Chris Harwood, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it, talking about that stuff.
And sign up for that. All my kayak anglers out there, you better sign up for this Redfish series.
Absolutely. And then I'll just throw those up there.
Throw that graphic back up.
Yeah, I'll throw the graphic up real quick. So the Redfish tournament it's out of Seahag.
Screenshot it right now, guys.
I think we touched on it, but it is out of Seahag. So as far as the Open, Chris, real quick, kayak division for the Open, what's the launch boundaries for the kayak division?
It's probably going to be 30 miles, I think. It's probably going to be somewhere up there. Spring Warrior area.
Okay, so from Spring Warrior to like Horseshoe. Mm-hmm. Okay, so from Spring Warrior to Horseshoe. Horseshoe. Both directions. Okay. So
start scouting it, guys.
So 30 miles from the mouth of the Steenhatchee River in both directions, which is like Spring Warrior from like Horseshoe Beach.
So to be safe, just hit Steenhatchee and I'll be cool.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. And that's for kayak. And you don't have to launch at the Steenhatchee River. You can launch at any launch point within the boundaries. Yes. For the kayak. And then the boat guys, they have to launch in the Steenhatchee River, correct? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, so Chris says the app has a boundary on it that you can follow to fish in. Yeah. Oh, so the app, will it chart where the fish is caught based on GPS location of your phone and everything like that? Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. All right. Well, Kenny, you got anything else? We got anything else we need to touch on?
Nope.
No. I think we're going to be back in Keaton Beach next month.
Yep.
So we'll be back in Keaton Beach. I think at Trading Post in Keaton Beach is where we'll be next month. All right. So and I really like this live format. I appreciate everybody that came in tonight. You showed up. That's awesome. I wish I hope we have the opportunity to do that more. Everybody that showed up tonight, and I hope you guys got some valuable information out of it. And man, thank you again one more time.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you hosting us. And Chris, again, thank you. And so for that, Kenny Mullins, I'm Jay Carson. We will see y'all next month.